Joseph Stalin was a dictator of the Soviet Union from the mid-1920s until his death in 1953. While Stalin ruled as dictator, he was responsible for the mass murder of over 40 million people. The letter I give Stalin is D, for diabolic. The exact number of people that died because of Stalin is unknown, but historians estimate the total casualties to be between 40 to 60 million deaths. Joseph Stalin carried out expulsions, forced displacements, imprisonment in labor camps, manufactured famines, torture, and acts of mass murder and massacre. Throughout the course of a 30-year reign, Stalin took advantage of his own desperate people and resorted in mass violence to overcome his paranoia of his unloyal followers. I give Joseph Stalin the letter D for diabolic because of his evil manner and similar qualities of the devil. Stalin spent his years as a youth spreading propaganda, supporting the Russian Revolution by robbing banks, kidnapping, and extortion. He was captured and exiled several times but always escaped. He became one of Lenin's closest friends, which he took complete advantage of to gain power during the Russian Revolution. Stalin strategically maneuvered his way into higher positions of power, and over time Lenin could see his true diabolical nature.
Aware of Stalin's real character, Lenin wrote just before his death,
"Having become General Secretary, he has enormous power in his hands, and I am not sure that he always knows how to use that power with sufficient caution."
The party decided to ignore Lenin's warning about Stalin. It was a decision they and millions of others would soon regret.
Joseph Stalin came into total power in 1928 and seized assets such as farms and factories in the name of communism and reorganized the entire economy, sending millions of people to work as slaves in Russian fields, which caused 20 million to starve to death. In 1934, Stalin began to purge on his own political party members suspected of disloyalty. He then ordered about 1 million citizens to execution and another 9.5 million deported, exiled, or sent to labor camps, 5 million of which never returned home alive.
It is difficult to even list all my friends and acquaintances. Those closest to me, my relatives, they all died, despite being completely innocent. They were arrested, taken away, beaten up. They are forced to confess to everything and shot. It happened to millions.
Joseph Stalin had no tolerance for negative publicity or sapient groups, which is why most citizens did not know of his diabolical crimes and often praised him as a hero. Stalin joined World War II against Hitler in 1941. He used the field workers and slaves to fight in the front lines, and they returned home from battle. They were immediately returned back to their labor camps.
If you had been in prison or in camp before the war, you were mobilized, you went to the front. Whatever you did at the front and you came back, you were immediately rearrested and sent back. The repeaters, they were called. Now that, to my mind, does encapsulate the utter cruelty and cynicism of the Stalinist system.
On March 5, 1953, Joseph Stalin died of a massive heart attack. Because of seditions, within 3 years, order was restored in Russia, formerly known as the Soviet Union. Stalin's reign reminds the world what happens in a country where power is unchecked by society. His diabolical acts and crime against humanity are a scar that will never be forgotten or taken lightly, that will affect the entire world forever.